Chapter 3 Habits. A wise teacher was taking a stroll through the forest with a young pupil and stopped before a tiny tree. Pull up that sapling, the teacher instructed his pupil, pointing to a sprout just coming up from the earth. The youngster pulled it up easy with his fingers. Now pull up that one, said the teacher, indicating a more established sapling that had grown to about knee high to the boy. With little effort, the lad yanked, and the tree came up, roots and all. And now that one, said the teacher, nodding toward a more well developed evergreen that was as tall as the young pupil. With great effort, throwing all his weight and strength into the task, using sticks and stone, he found he found to pry up the stubborn roots. The boy finally got the tree loose. Now, the wise old one said, I'd like you to pull this one up. The young boy followed the teacher's gaze, which fell upon a mighty oak, so tall the boy could scarcely see the top. Knowing the great struggle he just had pulling up the much smaller tree, he simply told the teacher, I'm sorry, but I can't. My son, you have just demonstrated the power that habits will have over your life. The teacher exclaimed, the older they are, the bigger they get, the deeper the roots grow, and the harder they are to uproot. Some get so big, with roots so deep, you might hesitate to even try. Create creatures of habit. Aristotle wrote, we are what we repeatedly do. Merriam Webster defines habit this way, an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. There is a story about a man riding a horse galloping quickly. It appears that he's going somewhere very important. A man standing along the roadside shouts, where are you going? The rider replies, I don't know. Ask the horse. This is a story of most people's lives. They're riding the horse of their habits, with no idea where they're headed. It's time to take control of the reins and move your life in the direction of where you really want to go. If you've been living on autopilot and allowing your habits to run you, I want you to understand why, and I want you to let yourself off the hook. After all, you're in good company. Psycho- Psychological studies reveal that 95% of everything we feel, think, do, and achieve is a result of a learned habit. We're born with instincts, of course, but no habits at all. We develop them over time, beginning in childhood. We learned a series of conditioned responses that led us to react automatically, as in without thinking, to most situations. In your day to day life, living automatically has its defined positives. If you had to consciously think about every step of each ordinary task, making breakfast, driving the kids to school, getting to work, and so on, your life would grind to a halt. You probably brush your teeth twice a day on autopilot. There's no big psychological debate. You just do it. You strap on your seatbelt the minute your butt hits the seat. No second thoughts. Our habits and routines allow us to use minimal conscious energy for everyday tasks. They help keep us sane and enable us to handle most situations reasonably well. And because we don't have to think about the mundane, we can focus our mental energy on more creative and enriching thoughts, habits, can be helpful as long as they're good habits, that is. If you eat healthfully, you'll likely build healthy habits around the food you buy and what you order at restaurants. If you're fit, it's probably because you work out regularly. If you're successful in a sales job, it's probably because your habits of mental preparation and positive self-talk enable you to stay optimistic in the face of rejection. I've met and worked with many great achievers, CEOs, and superstars, and I can tell you they all share one common trait. They all have good habits. That's not to say they don't have bad habits. They do, but not many. A daily routine built on good habits is the difference that separates the most successful amongst us from everyone else. And doesn't that make sense? From what we've already discussed, successful people aren't necessarily more intelligent or more talented than anyone else, but their habits take them in the direction of becoming more informed, more knowledgeable, more competent, better skilled, and better prepared. My dad used Larry Bird as an example to teach me about habits when I was a kid. Larry Legend is known as one of the greatest professional basketball players, but he wasn't known for being the most athletically talented player. Nobody would have described Larry as graceful on the basketball court, yet despite his limited natural athletic ability, he led the Boston Celtics to 3 world championships and remains one of the best players of all time. How did he do it? It was Larry's habits, his relentless dedication to practice and to improve his game. Bird was one of the most consistent free throw shooters in the history of the NBA. Growing up, his habit was to practice 500 free throw shots every morning before school. With that kind of discipline, Larry made the most of his God given talents and kicked the butts of some of the most gifted players on the court. Like Larry Bird, you can condition your automatic and unconscious responses to be those of a developed champion. This chapter is about choosing to make up for what you lack in innate ability with discipline, hard work, and good habits. It's about becoming a creature of champion habits. With enough practice and repetition, any behavior, good or bad, becomes automatic over time. That means that even though we develop most of our habits unconsciously by modeling our parents, responding to environmental or cultural associations, or creating coping mechanisms, we can consciously decide to change them. It stands to reason that since you learned every habit you have, you can also unlearn the ones that aren't serving you well already. Here goes. Start by thinking your way out of the instant gratification trap. We understand that scarfing Pop Tarts won't slenderize our waistlines. We recognize that logging 3 hours a night watching Dancing with the Stars and NCIS leaves us with 3 fewer hours to read a good book or listen to a terrific audio. We get the merely purchasing great running shoes doesn't make us marathon ready. We're a rational species. At least that's what we tell ourselves. So why are we so irrationally enslaved by so many bad habits? It's because our need for immediate gratification can turn us into the most reactive, non-thinking animals around. If you took a bite of a Big Mac and immediately fell to the ground, clutching your chest from a heart attack, you might not go back for that second bite. If your next puff of a cigarette instantly mutated your face into that of a weathered 85-year-old, chances are you'd pass on that too. If you failed to make the 10th call today and were immediately fired and bankrupt, suddenly picking up the phone would be a no-brainer. And if that first forkful of cake instantly put 50 pounds on your frame, saying no thank you to dessert would be the true piece of cake. The problem is that the payoff or instant gratification derived from bad habits often far outweighs what's going on in your rational mind concerning long-term consequences. Indulging in our bad habits doesn't seem to have any negative effects at all in the moment. You don't have that heart attack. Your face doesn't shrivel up. You're not standing in the unemployment line, and your thighs aren't thunderous. But that doesn't mean you haven't activated the compound effect. It's time to wake up and realize that the habits you indulge in could be compounding your life into repeated disaster. The slightest adjustments in your daily routines can dramatically alter the outcomes in your life. Again, I'm not talking about quantum leaps of change or a complete overhaul of your personality, character, and life. Super small, seemingly inconsequential adjustments can and will revolutionize everything. The best illustration I can give you to emphasize the power of small adjustments is that of a plane traveling from Los Angeles to New York City. If the nose of the plane is pointed only 1% off course, almost an invisible adjustment, when the plane's sitting on the tarmac in Los Angeles, it will ultimately end up about 150 miles off course, arriving either upstate in Albany or in Dover, Delaware. Such is the case for your habits. A single poor habit which doesn't look like much in the moment can ultimately lead you miles off course from the direction of your goals and the life you desire. See Figure 6. Most people drift through life without devoting much conscious energy to figuring out specifically what they want and what they need to do to take themselves there. I want to show you how to ignite your passion and help you aim your unstoppable creative power in the direction of your heart's dreams and desires. Uprooting bad habits that have grown into mighty oaks is going to be arduous and difficult. To see the process through will require something greater than even the most relentless determination. Willpower alone won't cut it. Figure 6. The power of small adjustments. A 1% change in course results in being 150 miles off course. So this is the picture. Finding your mojo, your why power. Assuming willpower is what you need to change your habits is akin to trying to keep a hungry grizzly bear out of your picnic basket by covering it with a napkin. To fight the bear of your bad habits, you need something stronger. When you're having trouble doing the hard work of achieving your goals, it's common to believe you simply lack willpower. I disagree. It's not enough to choose to be successful what's going to keep you consistent with the new positive choices you need to make, what's going to stop you from falling back what's going to stop you from falling back into your mindless bad habits, what's going to be the different this time versus the times that you've tried and failed before. As soon as you get the slightest bit uncomfortable, you're going to be tempted to slide back into your old comfortable routine. You've tried willpower before and it's failed you. You've set resolutions and you've let them go. You thought you were going to lose all that weight last time. You thought you'd make all those sales calls last year. Let's stop the insanity and do something different so you can get different and better results. Forget about willpower. It's time for why power. Your choices are only meaningful when you connect them to your desires and dreams. The wisest and most motivating choices are the ones aligned with that which you identify as your purpose, your core self, and your highest values. You've got to want something and know why you want it, or you'll end up giving up too easily. So, what is your why? You've got to have a reason if you want to make significant improvements to your life and to make you want to make a necessary change, the necessary changes. Your why must be something that is fantastically motivating to you. You've got to want to go up and go, 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 go for years. So, what is it that moves you the most? Identifying your why is critical. What motivates you is the ignition to your passion, the source of your enthusiasm, and the fuel of your persistence. This is so important that I made it the focus of another book. living your best living your best year ever. A proven system for achieving big goals. Success Books 2011. You must know your why.